This is day 23 of our Viking European Sojourn trip, and today is probably the most anticipated day or look forward day of the entire trip. It's scenic sailing down the Rhine River, the Middle Rhine River that is, and today we're going to see all the castles, the famous castles of the Middle Rhine, and we're going to be sitting on top of the deck just relaxing. It's a little bit cool, so we have some blankets they provide us, nice comfortable chairs to sit back on. They're serving us coffee and tea and snacks, and our cruise director will have a running commentary of everything we're going to see, from the towns, the bridges, the history, and this being the Rhine River, it's also very famous for its wineries, so we'll talk about some of the winery estates here as well, which are also looking like castles. Anyways, here's some beautiful architecture that we're going to see, and then at midday after lunch, we're going to depart the ship, take a little bus trip up to one of the most famous castles. You'll see it in all the brochures, and that's Marksburg. And from the Marksburg castle, we'll be able to look back over the Rhine and see the other cruise ships going along. And then we'll take a bus trip all the way into Koblenz. We'll pick up our ship again. We'll have an opportunity to walk around Koblenz before our ship departs for our next destination. So at this point, we're in the heart of the wine-growing region of the Rhine Valley, and you can see this fantastic vineyard here going up the banks of the Rhine, all the way up to the chateau up top, and I believe that is a winery now. At least that's what our cruise director is telling us, and we'll pass a lot of these along the way today. Well, I'm not sure this is a castle. Our program director hasn't announced it as such, but it is an impressive building. Imagine it's associated with the wineries around here. They're famous for the wine. You can see all the vineyards going up to it. Looks like a beautiful spot. Overlooking the Rhine, the river valley. This is a huge statue known as Lady Germany, and she's holding the crown of the Prussian-German Empire here, and it's fairly close to the banks of the river. Above it, in the middle of all these wineries, is just a nice piece of history that our cruise director was able to describe to us. So at this point here, we've seen wineries, we've seen old towns, and now we're starting to see some of the castles that this part of the trip is famous for. So on the left-hand side here is a little castle, and I think it's really a guard station because they used to collect tolls on the rivers here as you pass the different areas where there was a lord and lady in residence, and they, in order to pass by and move your goods, you had to pay tolls. So almost like robber barons, it sounds to me. Anyways, this is a 14th century castle. It doesn't look like this one's in use, but there's many others here that you'll see that are in great shape and have been reused. I think some of them are hotels and obviously tourist sites that you can visit as well. But we're just going by them, with the exception of Marksburg Castle, which we'll go visit before the end of the day.
It was a very cool time. And actually what he did once in the town of Bingen. And therefore they start asking Lord Hatto to give them the grains in the warehouse. But Lord Hatto started asking for very high prices. People are dying from starvation in Bingen, and one day a group of men decided to storm Elephant's castle to take the grains. Lord Hatto decided to open.
I know it's hard to hear, but I'll let you know that our cruise director had a running commentary of everything we were seeing along the Rhine River, from the towns, the castles, the vineyards, and the history of the different locations we were passing by. Really fascinating, and it just made for such a pleasant day on the river. And I'll say it's probably our favorite day of the entire Viking Sojourn trip. And if you want to see this without taking the full trip, the whole Viking Sojourn trip, you can see this section of the Rhine, the castle tour, if you take Viking's Grand European Tour. So again, we're on the European Sojourn Tour, which is a combination of the passage to Eastern Europe as well as the Grand European Tour. So the second half of the leg, the part that we're on right now, is the Grand European Tour. And that starts in Budapest and goes all the way to Amsterdam, or you can take it from Amsterdam to Budapest, of course.
Was destroyed by the French and finally rebuilt in the shape that you see.
So this is Rhine Castle,
Very flamboyant,
built for taxation.
Styled by the Crown Prince Friedrich of Prussia last century. Here the obsession with rebuilding all this castle in the Rhine that were destroyed by the French. Married. So the father of the princess invited the uncle of the young prince to negotiate the marriage. But where all the uncles saw the princess, he fell in love with her and he decided that it would be a better idea him to marry the princess than his good-looking young nephew. The father of the princess didn't care too much. At the end of the day, that time was important. Not important who will marry, it's important how many castles you can bring to the family. So he agreed to the wedding. The legend goes that Humboldt, the young prince, he was very upset that his uncle will marry the beautiful princess, and in there the wedding he was hiding with his horse in the woods. The old uncle decided to go by horse to pick up his bride. But when the young princess started riding with the horse towards the castle of her husband-to-be, something from the woods scared the horse, and the horse started running towards the river. But the princess was in danger, and of course the old prince, the husband-to-be, tried to save the princess, but being so old, he slipped over, fell in the river and died. Actually, Humboldt, the young prince, he was in the woods, he ran with his horse, saved the princess, they got married, and of course, like in all the fairy tales, they live happy.
Wow, pretty narrow and shallow going through here, isn't it?
Now, let's look back to the Ernstein Castle here on the left-hand side. You can see the main body of the castle, and close to us, it's a round tower. Wait to pass and look at the round tower, and now you can see perfectly. On top of the tower it's a metallic arm, and at the end it's a metallic cage suspended. Now you can see perfectly projected on the blue sky. The legend said that whoever will discover that golden blocks with the two hearts will have the luck to meet their love forever. Nobody, surprise, surprise, discovered the box.
This is Liechtenstein.
They were trying quite hard. When we were approaching now the other castle right posted on the left-hand side, Rhine Castle is the castle where Hamburg, the city in the area, they created in 1253 kind of an organization called the League of the Red City that they decided to fight against all these rubber barons, the illegal taxation. So therefore this castle was destroyed in 1253, but was rebuilt by another family and destroyed again in 1282 by the Empress Rudolf of Habsburg, who razed it to the ground and executed the entire family. Finally, the castle was destroyed in 1689 by the French, and they were trying to dismantle the fortification, German fortification on the Rhine. And what you can see on the left-hand side was rebuilt in 1900 by the grandfather of the present owner. Believe it or not, it's a private property, house an important collection of antlers and weapons. It's open to public and can be visited by the family still live in one of the legend. He was the best ruler of this area. He was very generous. He took care of his people, and cruelty never had found a place in Scenic Castle. On the left-hand side, on top of the hill, you can see Scenic Castle. Before that, in line with the wheelhouse, it's a huge stone quarry. There was a massive problem exploding the stones here because the vibration of the equipment were creating massive cracks in the castle. When the Chinese corporation bought the stone quarry, they needed to sign a deal with the government, and therefore they would pay a huge part of their profit to the castle for the maintenance and to protect the castle from destruction. On the left-hand side, on top of the hill, Scenic Castle, today it's a museum, hosts a little restaurant and a guest house. So if you want next time, don't take a cruise.
Viking is such a great company. What they do is that they actually provided you a guide which actually listed all the castles along the route, so you could read up about them. So it gave you the name, their location, what order they were coming in, and gave a little bit of the history of each particular castle as well. So not only did you get to listen to the cruise director and learn about the history of the castles and the towns and vineyards, you got to read about them as well, and you knew exactly what was coming up and when. So kudos to Viking for organizing just a fantastic tour of the Middle Rhine and the Castle District. The Castle section, or Castle Cruise, they call this particular day, and everybody looks forward to it.
Fortunately, the castle was destroyed by the French in 1689. It was rebuilt, and you see when you approach the castle, it's my favorite castle on the Rhine Valley because it's not Haunted Castle on the left-hand side. As I said,
privately owned, private residence currently, so you can't tour it.
Just what you want in a private residence, a haunted an ex-haunted.
Camping and for tourists, the youngsters coming here, they need to climb and have some adrenaline facing the danger and legends about the ghost of Fürstenberg Castle that we see on the left-hand side.
Just a tower. Castle, Fürstenberg Castle. Not only do we get to see the vineyards and the valley and the castles, but we get to see some beautiful river ships coming by us. This is definitely not a Viking ship. Definitely some barges. And we got some people doing a little bit of rafting.
Step by step, the population growth. They build the second, the third.
Definitely, it looks like whitewater rafting, but obviously there's not really any whitewater around here.
Facing the river, close to the river, in the middle, between the first and the second houses, already located. Another famous castle here on the River Rhine, and I want to talk about it before we arrive, because from our point where we are right now in Viking European, we're now shooting 11:35.
So this is Scenic Castle, first mentioned in 1135. I think it's probably been rebuilt several times. What's interesting about this castle is you can see inside it because the outer walls have been removed. Tully has lots and lots and lots of vineyards around it. It is currently the German Youth Hostel Association who own it.
Especially the young one, offering very good prices for a bed and breakfast, a couple of nights in the beginning of Castle. So on the left-hand side of Castle, you see the ruins of the Werner Chapel in Gothic style. It was built between 1249 and they needed like 140 years, but unfortunately was destroyed by the French. And of course on top, Castle Scenic that I was talking about, constructed at the beginning of the 12th century, which now, as I said, it's a youth hostel.
A youth hostel now. In the town below, a couple of chapels. original fortifications still existing. Right in this little valley filled with vineyards.
They still optimize
And behind the portraits of Balz, you have
This is the portraits of Balz.
Another important touristic place here in the Rhine Valley, and on top of the mountain garden, if you want cloud, is the castle Gutenfels, built
This is the
for the
castle
first
of
time in
Gutenfels.
1257. The translation means the God drop, and the nickname came from the fact that it was successfully defended against an attacking army for an entire year in 1504. Now the Gutenfels, it's a hotel, it's a private hotel, and it's quite one of the most luxurious hotels in the Mid-Rhine Valley. Lowering your eyes from Gutenfels castle to Kaub, if you look, you'll see some
We just passed Schomburg. And I believe we might be coming up to Lorelei. I'm not sure what the town is here, but they definitely have some beautiful cathedrals. This one here. Beautiful tower here.
still alive on the bottom of the river, but without sinking. Nobody believes it's just a legend, but funny enough, in January 2011, a cargo ship full of sulfuric acid.
So this is the most dangerous section of the river, or was the most dangerous section of the river. It's called the Lorelei Rock here, and legend has it that a young maiden who was rejected by her lover committed suicide by jumping off the rock, and ever since then she attracts sailors to sail too close to the edges, and their boats would hit the rocks and they would drown, and hence the mist that was created all the way around it. But it is quite a narrow section of the Rhine River, and I guess it's fairly shallow and rocky at one point. I think they've raised the level of the river now and made it safer. And when we get to the other side of the rock here, I believe they have a statue to the maiden Lorelei, which the myth is all about.
You'll see on a little tip of land, they built a statue, which is not the most
The Lorelei Rock.
And
So we're on the Rhine River, just past the Lorelei Rock, and a lot of people are camping here. They have a lot of events here, concerts and so on. It's very scenic.
Around 2 o'clock, there are some people on the back of the river, like a little beach. Moving your eyes towards the right, you see it's a flat hole with a flat bed, and in front of the flat, you can see it's a statue, a green statue of a bird sitting on the rock. That's the statue of Lorelei.
A little statue here of Lorelei. Yes, right underneath the flag. The Lorelei statue. This is the statue of Lorelei. The flag here.
Statue of Lorelei.
There she is.
The boathouse on the right hand side, you can see.
She didn't get our boat today.
It's imposing.
It seems like all these castles were destroyed by the French in the 17th century and then rebuilt.
Crisis reinforcements were called, and the citizen of the town, the city, were required to accommodate and feed the troops free of charge. And on the left-hand side is Singorhausen, another city.
We have Singorhausen. right and Sengor on the left-hand side.
Which is the Witch Tower, used to imprison witches during the witch trials in 1600s in Germany. And
Witch Tower, 1600s, they were trying witches here.
It used to be the accommodation for the cancer of the city hall. Sandor and Sandor House. Sandor House on the right hand side, Sandor on the left hand side. Finally, we are approaching the largest castle on the Rhine, located on the left-hand side, guarding, if you want, Sengor city. It was built in 1245. It's Rheinfeld's castle. Again, it was built to collect taxes. It was besieged in 1255 for an entire year by the League of the Venice City, but because of the strong fortification, the castle was not taken. It's said that during the peacetime, between 300 to 600 soldiers used to live there. But in case of a siege, the number
There's a lot of tour boats that take people past the Lorelei Rock.
in 1692, Rheinfels was the only fortification on the Rhine to be successfully defended against the French troop of Louis XIV, but the French returned 2 years later in a bigger number. And as a surprise, the soldiers in the castle ran away and surrendered the castle without a fight. Today the castle is owned by the city of Sengor.
So this is supposedly the largest castle on the Rhine. Never defeated in battle, but when a large French army showed up with so many men, the soldiers abandoned it. Big sweeping turn here. There's the Aquavit Terrace and everybody completing their lunches. We're going around the corner. Double wide barge, railway containers, or shipping containers I should say. Double length as well. And then we have a tourist boat right behind it. Lots of traffic on the Rhine River. And every corner seems to have a beautiful town. So this is the Lorelei Elegance. They're obviously on a trip to the Lorelei Rock.
So the Rhine River, at least in this section, is very, very busy. There's, in addition to all the tourist ships, like our Viking cruise ship, Alma Waterways and a variety of others also run cruises here from Budapest to Amsterdam mainly, but there's also a lot of smaller ships offering scenic tours of the Lorelei Rock section of the Rhine. And then there's all these barges, and they're coming one right after another. So this is one of the biggest or busiest trade routes as well. Fascinating to watch all the boats go by, and I believe this is a Viking ship right here, so you'll have a really good look at what Viking ships actually look like from the water side. We're on the Viking lift here, and this is just a different one going in the other direction.
Don't worry, you won't be in Budapest too long.
So we have now reached Marksburg Castle, and this is the castle where we're going to actually get a chance to tour. So we'll be departing the boat here shortly, and then there's a short bus ride up to the castle where we'll get into it and have a guided tour for an hour or so before leaving and heading down to Koblenz. And then we get to walk around that town a little bit before departing on our way to the next town, which I believe is Cologne. So we don't have an organized tour in Koblenz, but I understand it's easily walkable if you decide to do that.
Closer. There's somebody up there right now taking our picture. Get the perfect Viking ship picture as it goes down the Rhine. Right in that window right there.
So just as we pass the castle here, we docked at the town of Brobach, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and we grabbed our buses and we headed up to the castle for our tour.
Up to the hill.
Up the hill. Don't turn right.
No.
Although we got a few trees that'll hold us on
We
the
have
road.
many grills here. You look here. Take, watch it. We have many red grills here. Jump in the summertime over the street.
This is the parking lot.
Hello, here.
And now we walk. Castle.
So we got to spend a good hour and a half in the castle, a guided tour, learned all about its history, got to tour all its rooms. Are they armories? Are there torture chamber? Where they ate and slept? Where they made wine? It was really, really fascinating. Just a great little tour and beautiful views of the Rhine Valley as well, and to watch all the boats go by. So a perfect spot, great way to end our castle tour today by actually touring one of the remarkable castles of the Rhine River Valley.
You gotta run and swim.
And here is the town of Brobach. We're partway up to Marksburg Castle. And our boat, the Viking Leap, is sailing to Koblenz.
One and only hilltop town for the middle Rhine.
You're so proud.
The blacksmith shop. Very cool.
So after a tour of Marksburg Castle, they put us back on the bus and they drove us to Koblenz, where we met our Viking lift boat right on the banks of the Rhine. And we had dinner here and had the opportunity to walk around the town a little bit. It got dark fairly soon, so we didn't tour much, my wife and I. You could have taken a tour, but Viking offers sort of an extra excursion. They decided not to, but a lot of people decided to take these cable cars and go across the other side of the river and check out the fortress there. My wife and I decided that we'd just walk around the local area because they had a great monument that we wanted to see, and we just wanted to relax for the evening. But what a beautiful spot Koblenz is.
So we're in Koblenz at the confluence of the Rhine and the Mosel River. We've got the large fort up here. Got a lot of cruise ships going by, and our Viking ship, the Lift, is docked right here. An extremely convenient location. And there's the cable cars that take you up to the fortress. Really impressive is this huge statue dedicated to Kaiser Wilhelm. I think he's known as the unifier of Germany. And there he is. Unfortunately, the lighting's not the greatest. Kaiser Wilhelm the First. So here we are in Koblenz. It's around 9:30 at night, and I think Kaiser Wilhelm I, this is his monument, and they've illuminated it. Still not the best of lighting, but still an incredible statue. Just beautiful to behold.